All praises. All praises to the Most High. They be lying, man. Why they keep lying? Why they keep doing that? No pun intended. You know, look here. This thing, man. I was just sitting back and reading a little bit. I just had to share just how erroneous these interpretations are that we keep hearing from these individuals. And it's bad, man. It's bad. It gets worse. In Hosea chapter 3, verses 4 and 5, pay attention to what this says. For the children of Israel, I want you to keep this in mind, this phrase, the children of Israel. Because as we go through the book of Hosea, you're going to come to find out that this has nothing to do with the house of Judah. This phrase here within Hosea, chapters 1 through 3, every time it's mentioned, it has nothing to do with Judah. Yeah, we're going to get into this. The children of Israel shall abide many days without a king, without a prince, without a sacrifice, without an image, and without an ephod, and without a teraphim. Afterward shall the children of Israel return and seek the Lord their God. For sake, I'm going to say Yah because of the Lord, it just gets old. Yah their Elohim and David their king, and shall fear Yah and his goodness in the latter days. Let's pay attention. I want to read you every phrase, the children of Israel, within the book of Hosea, just to kick things off a little bit. You know, I'm going to be very concise with this thing here. There's not going to be a lot of pontificating, just straight information. Hosea 1:10, yet the number of the children of Israel shall be as the sand of the sea, which cannot be measured nor numbered. And it shall come to pass that in the place where it was said unto them, you are not my people, there it shall be said unto them, you are the sons of the living God. Hosea 1:11, then shall the children of Judah and the children of Israel be gathered together and appoint themselves one head, and they shall come up out of the land, for great shall be the day of Jezreel. Hosea chapter 3, verse 1. Then said Yah unto me, go yet, love a woman beloved of her friend, yet an adulteress according to the love of Yah toward the children of Israel, which took to other gods and loved flagons of wine. Hosea chapter 3, verse 4. For the children of Israel shall abide many days without a king. Hosea 3:5. Afterward shall the children of Israel return. Do you know that in every place the children of Israel is mentioned in Hosea chapter 1 through chapter 3, it has nothing to do with the house of Judah? It actually has to do with what we would call the northern kingdom, or the tribes that were rent from the house of Judah, from the house of David. Let me show you this very simply. Hosea chapter 1, verse 1. The word of Yah that came unto Hosea the son of Beri in the days of Uzziah, Jotham, Ahaz, and Hezekiah, kings of Judah, and in the days of Jeroboam, the son of Joash, king of Israel. Now, do you notice this? Uzziah, Jotham, Ahaz, and Hezekiah, kings of Judah, and in the days of Jeroboam, the son of Joash, king of Israel. All right, keep that in mind. Jeroboam, the son of Joash, king of Israel. The beginning of the word of Yah by Hosea. And Yah said unto Hosea, go take thee a wife of whoredoms and the children of whoredoms, for the land hath committed great whoredom, departing from Yah. So he went and took Gomer, the daughter of Debeliam, which conceived and bare him a son. And Yah said unto him, call his name Jezreel, for yet a little while, and I will avenge the blood of Jezreel upon the house of Jehu, and will cause to cease the kingdom of the house of Israel. Pay attention. Will cause to cease the kingdom of the house of Israel. And it shall come to pass at that day that I will break the bow of Israel in the valley of Jezreel. And she conceived again and bare a daughter. And God said unto him, call her name Loruhamah, for I will no more have mercy upon the house of Israel, but I will utterly take them away. But I will have mercy upon the house of Judah, and will save them by Yah their Elohim, and will not spare them by bow, nor by sword, nor by battle, nor by horses, nor by horsemen. So pay attention that the house of Israel in Hosea chapter 1 is not the house of Judah. Pay attention that in Hosea chapter 1, verse 1, Jeroboam, the son of Joash, is king of Israel. But Uzziah, Jotham, Ahaz, and Hezekiah, kings of Judah. Pay attention that when you actually look in Hosea chapter 1, when Yah is speaking to Hosea to take a wife of whoredom and the children of whoredoms, that this is representing who? The house of Israel. They are the ones that are being told Lo Ruhamah and Lo Ami. Hosea chapter 1 verse 8. Now when she was winged, Loruhamah, and when she had winged Loruhamah, she conceived and bare a son. Then said God, call his name Lo Ami, for ye are not my people, and I will not be your God. Yet the number of the children of Israel shall be as the sand of the sea, which cannot be measured or numbered. And it shall come to pass that in the place where it was said unto them, you are not my people, there it shall be said unto them, you are the sons of the living God. Then the children of Judah and the children of Israel. Did you see the distinction here? There's the children of Judah, but then there's the children of Israel. There's the house of Judah, but then there's the house of Israel. There's kings of Judah, then there is the king of Israel. Now we're starting to get a little picture painted here, aren't we? Hosea 2:1. Say ye unto your brethren Ami, and to your sisters Ruhamah, plead with your mother, plead, for she is not my wife, neither am I her husband. Good God. Let her therefore put away her whoredoms out of her sight, and her adulteries from between her breast, lest I strip her naked, and set her as the day she was born, and make her as a wilderness, and set her like a dry land, and slay her with thirst. And I will not have mercy upon her children, for they be the children of whoredoms. Who is he talking about here? It's very clear. He's talking about the house of Israel, not Judah, because we already read here in Hosea chapter 1 that Yah said in verse 6, I will no more have mercy upon the house of Israel, but I will utterly take them away, but I will have mercy on the house of Judah. And so notice in Hosea 2:4, and I will not have mercy upon her children, for they are children of whoredoms. So we've already got the whole context and built up here, right? So I'm going to skip ahead. This is very clear what's happening here. He's taking a wife of whoredoms, the children of whoredoms. This is representing the house of Israel, the northern kingdom. Has nothing to do with Judah. So we continue on, right? Take a look at this as we go into Hosea chapter 2, verse 22. And the earth shall hear the corn and the wine and the oil, and they shall hear Jezreel. Remember that from Hosea chapter 1? And I will sow her unto me in the earth, and I will have mercy upon her that had not obtained mercy. And I will say to them which were not my people, thou art my people, and they shall say, thou art my God. So what's happening? Who is this? Well, it's not Judah. It's the house of Israel that is being referred to within context. And why? He already told you in Hosea chapter 2, and check it out, man. In verse 2, plead for your mother, plead for she is not my wife, neither am I her husband. Let her therefore put away her whoredoms out of my sight, and her adulteries from between her breasts. This leads us into Hosea chapter 3, verse 1. Then said Yah unto me, go yet love a woman beloved of her friend, yet an adulteress. So we're seeing kind of like this same motif, right, from Hosea 1. According to the love of Yah towards the children of Israel, which is who? Well, it's these people that it's referring to, and the days of Jeroboam, the king of Israel, the house of Jehu, as we continue on, that these are this adulteress that it speaks of, according to the love of Yah toward the children of Israel. Remember, the children of Judah and the children of Israel will one day come together again, because she has treacherously departed, you see, who look to other gods and love flagons of wine. So I brought her to me for 15 pieces of silver, and for a homer of barley, and for half a homer of barley. And I said unto her, the her there is not Judah. Hello, it should be very clear. Thou shalt not play the harlot, and thou shalt not be for another man. So will I also be for thee. For the children of Israel shall abide many days without a king, and without a prince, and without a sacrifice, and without an image, and without an ephod, and without teraphim. Afterward shall the children of Israel return, and seek Yah their Elohim and David their king, and shall fear Yah in his goodness in latter days. You know, this has nothing to do with Judah not having a king, or Judah not knowing the Lord their God, or Yah their Elohim. This is what these Tanakh only and so-called OT only people continue to do. I've continuously heard this from anti-missionaries, but they're busted. They're busted because this shows you they don't know the Tanakh. They don't read the Tanakh, but they want to deal with prophecies and don't understand the prophecies. Now pay attention to this, right? This is where it gets really good. Hosea 4:1. Hear ye the word of Yah, you children of Israel. For Yah hath the controversy with the inhabitants of the land, because there is no truth nor mercy nor knowledge of God in the land. Let me go down. Watch this. Watch this. Hosea 4:4. Yet let no man strive nor reprove another, for thy people are as they that strive with the priest. Therefore shalt thou fall in the day, and the prophet also shall fall with thee in the night, and I will destroy your mother. Who's their mother? The adulteress. That's their mother. Verse 6, my people are destroyed for lack of knowledge. Because thou hast rejected knowledge, I will reject thee, that thou shalt be no priest to me, seeing that thou hast forgotten the law of God. I will forget thy children. As they were increased, so they sinned against me. Therefore, I will change their glory into shame. They eat up the sin of my people. They set their heart on their iniquity. And there shall be like people, like priests, and I will punish them for their ways and reward them for their doings. For they shall eat and not have enough. They shall commit whoredom and shall not increase, because they have left off to take heed unto Yah. Whoredom and wine and new wine take away the heart. Remember, the children of Israel love idolatry, idols, and flagons of wine. Hosea 4:12. My people ask counsel at their stocks, and the staff declareth unto them, for the spirit of whoredoms have caused them to err, and they have gone a whoring from under their God. They sacrifice upon the tops of the mountains, and burn incense upon the hills under the oaks and poplars of elms, because the shadow thereof is good. Therefore your daughters shall commit whoredom, your spouses shall commit adultery. I will punish your daughters when they commit whoredom, nor your spouses when they commit adultery, for themselves are separated with whores, and they sacrifice with harlots. Therefore the people that doeth not understand shall fall. Though thou, Israel, you see who he's been talking about the whole time, play the harlot, yet let not Judah offend. He's been talking about Israel the whole time. And I'm going to show you why he's been saying this in Hosea the whole time. Because they set up a mock priesthood. They had actually left off from the law of what Yah said to do to go to Jerusalem. And they set up places with these calves that they would worship. And this was all up underneath Jeroboam. It's called the sin of Jeroboam. And this is what they're actually partaking of. And Judah, though, is not. Judah's actually remaining faithful because they're holding true with the king of Judah. This is so bad. I'm telling you, it's so bad, man. It says in Hosea 4:15, though thou Israel play the harlot, and let not Judah offend, and come not ye unto Gilgal. Now we're going to see why they're going to Gilgal. Okay. Neither go ye up to Bethaven, nor swear the Lord liveth. You see, Judah, they don't go up to Gilgal. Don't do this. Neither go up to Bethaven, nor swear the Lord liveth, for Israel slideth back as a black sliding heifer. Now Yah will feed them as a lamb in a large place. Ephraim is joined to idols. Let him alone. You see what God's saying to Judah? Ephraim is joined unto idols. Let him alone. Leave him alone. Do not go to Gilgal, nor go ye up to Beth Aven. Right. Boy. Now, let me pull this up right quick. Now, you know what's interesting about this? And there, we're going to come to Hosea because we're going to deal with this. Some very interesting stuff going on here. But check this out. This is 1 Kings chapter 12, verse 1. It's also found in 2 Chronicles 10, 1 through 15. It's rebellion against Rehoboam. Rehoboam is the son of Solomon, king of Judah, who is the king of Israel, right? Solomon was, but a little background story. Because of what Rehoboam did and, you know, basically saying he's going to make it harder for them than Solomon, his father, did in the rigorous work that they were going to have to do, etc. Just a short synopsis. We'll probably read a little bit about it. That the children of Israel said they no longer had any part with David. And then they say, get to your tents, Israel. This is where you see the divide, the split. But check this out in 1 Kings chapter 12, 1. And Rehoboam went to Shechem, for all Israel were come to Shechem to make him king. And it came to pass when Jeroboam, the son of Nebat, who was yet in Egypt, heard of it, for he was fled from the presence of King Solomon, and Jeroboam dwelt in Egypt, that they sent and called him. And Jeroboam and all the congregation of Israel came and spake unto Rehoboam, saying, Thy father made our yokes grievous. Now therefore make thou the grievous service of thy father and his heavy yoke which he hath put upon us lighter, and we will serve you. And he said unto them, Depart ye for 3 days, then come unto me again. And the people departed. And King Rehoboam consulted the old men that stood before Solomon his father, while he yet lived, and said, How do you advise that I may answer this people? And they spake unto him, saying, If thou wilt be a servant unto this people this day, and wilt serve them and answer them and speak good words unto them, then they will be your servants forever. But he forsook the counsel of the old men, which they had given him, and consulted with the young men that were grown up with him, and which stood before him, and said unto them, What counsel give ye, that we may answer this people, who have spoken unto me, saying, Make the yoke which thy father did put upon us lighter? And the young men that were grown up with him spake unto him, saying, Thus shalt thou speak unto this people, and that spake unto thee, saying, Thy father made our yoke heavy, but make thou it lighter unto us. Thus shalt thou say unto them, My little finger shall be thicker than my father's loins. And now, whereas my father did lay you with a heavy yoke, I will add to your yoke. My father hath chastised you with whips, but I will chastise you with scorpions. So Jeroboam and all the people came to Rehoboam the 3rd day, as the king had appointed, saying, Come to me again the 3rd day. And the king answered the people roughly, and forsook the old men's counsels that they gave him, and spake to them after the counsel of the young men, saying, My father made your yoke heavy, and I will add to your yoke. My father also chastised you with whips, but I will chastise you with scorpions. Wherefore the king hearkened not unto the people, for the cause was from Yah, and he might perform his saying, which Yah spake by Ahijah the Shilamite unto Jeroboam the son of Nebat. So when all Israel saw that the king hearkened not unto them, the people answered the king, saying, What portion have we in David? Neither have we inheritance in the son of Jesse. To your tents, O Israel. Now see that thine own house, David. So Israel departed unto their tents. But as for the children of Israel, which dwelt in the cities of Judah, Rehoboam reigned over them. The king Rehoboam sent Adoram, who was over the tribute, and all of Israel stoned him with stones that he died. Therefore, King Rehoboam made speed to get him out to his chariot and to flee Jerusalem. So Israel rebelled against the house of David until this day. Does everybody see what just happened here? What just happened was Israel, quote unquote, the tribes, okay, what we would call later the northern tribes, they rebelled against the house of Judah, meaning who? David, meaning the sons of David, that they should not be their king. This is why they will abide many days without a king, if you're going to say anything. You know what's even interesting about Hosea 3, even when I look at it, and I might get into this a little bit later, I want to keep this pretty simple for now, is that pretty much everybody is breaking that thing down so wrong. It's terrible that people are doing that because they are using that specific text of scripture in order to really validate the fact that they don't have a quote unquote Davidic king. But this whole context that we read in Hosea chapter 1, Hosea chapter 2, and Hosea chapter 3 is the fact that they went after their whoredoms, their flagons of wine, that they treacherously departed from Judah, and Judah is being warned not to follow after them because Ephraim, quote unquote, the children of Israel, quote unquote, the house of Israel, quote unquote, the house of Jehu, quote unquote, those underneath Jeroboam, king of, quote, Israel, end quote, has joined themselves to idols. You see how easy this is here, man? Like I tell people, it's not that hard. Why are they making it so hard? Look at what it says in verse 20. It came to pass when all Israel heard that Jeroboam was come again, that they sent and called him unto the congregation and made him king over all Israel. There was none that followed the house of David. Whoa. Made him king over all Israel. Who? Jeroboam. Who did it? The children of Israel. When all Israel, do you know that's not all Israel? Because it's not Judah. So what kind of language do you think that Hosea is using? If Hosea is talking about Israel, he's not talking about the house of Judah. It's just like you see here in 1 Kings chapter 12. In 1 Kings chapter 12, it said it came to pass when all, that's A-L-L, Israel, heard that Jeroboam was come again, that they sent and called him unto the congregation and made him king over all Israel. There was none that followed the house of David, but the tribe of Judah only. Did everybody catch that? Very simple. That's 1 Kings chapter 12, verse 20. This is verse 21. And when Rehoboam was come to Jerusalem, he assembled all the house of Judah and the tribe of Benjamin, 180,000 chosen men, which were warriors to fight against the house of Israel. to bring the kingdom again to Rehoboam the son of Solomon. But the word of God came to Shemaiah, the man of God, saying, Speak unto Rehoboam, the son of Solomon, king of Judah, and unto all the house of Judah and Benjamin, and the remnant of the people, saying, Thus saith Yah, you shall not go up nor fight with your brethren, the children of Israel. Did y'all catch that? You shall not go up or fight against your brethren, the children of Israel. Now we see how all these terms are being used in Hosea. It shouldn't be confusing, but for some reason, all these Orthodox Jews don't read the Tanakh properly. I can't really figure out why, except that they're just liars under a spirit of delusion. When you take a look at this, it says, Return every man to his house, for this thing is from me. They hearken therefore to the word of Yah. They hearken unto the word of Yah, and returned to depart according to the word of Yah. Then Jeroboam, here we go, built Shechem in Mount Ephraim, and dwelt therein, and went out from thence and built Peniel. And Jeroboam said in his heart, Now shall the children return to the house of David. Oh, now the kingdom basically shall return to the house of David. If this people go up to do sacrifice in the house, the temple of Yah at Jerusalem, then shall the heart of this people turn again unto their Lord. Who is their Lord? The Davidic king. Jeroboam's even recognizing that's their Lord. Even unto Rehoboam, king of Judah, and they shall kill me, and go again to Rehoboam, king of Judah. Whereupon the king took counsel and made 2 calves of gold, and said unto them, It is too much for you to go up to Jerusalem. Behold thy gods, O Israel. Do you see that? Behold thy gods, O Israel. Now we might be understanding what's going on in Hosea chapter 3. When we took a look at Hosea chapter 3 earlier, what did it say in Hosea 3:1? Then said Yah unto me, Go yet and love a woman beloved of her friend, yet an adulteress, according to the love of Yah toward the children of Israel, who look to other gods and love flagons of wine. 1 Kings chapter 12, picking it up at verse 28. Whereupon the king took counsel and made 2 calves of gold, and said unto them, It is too much for you to go up to Jerusalem. Behold thy gods, O Israel, which brought thee up out of the land of Egypt. And he set the one in Bethel, and he put the other in Dan. And this thing became a sin, for the people went to worship before the one, even unto Dan. And he made an house of high places, right? A temple, and made priests of the lowest of the people, which were not of the sons of Levi. And Jeroboam ordained a feast in the 8th month, on the 15th day of the month, like unto the feast that was in Judah, and he offered upon the altar. So did he in Bethel, sacrificing unto the calves that he had made, and he placed in Bethel the priest of the high places which he had made. So he offered upon the altar which he had made in Bethel the 15th day of the 8th month, even the month which is devised of his own heart. See? Which he had devised of his own heart, and ordained a feast unto the children of Israel. This don't have nothing to do with Judah. This has nothing to do with Judah whatsoever. It has nothing to do with the house of Judah. The house of Judah in this phrase are not the children of Israel. In Hosea 1, Hosea 2, Hosea 3, the children of Israel, the house of Israel, Israel don't have nothing to do with Judah. And he offered upon the altar and burnt incense. Watch this. And behold, there came a man of God out of Judah by the word of Yah unto Bethel. And Jeroboam stood by the altar to burn incense. And he cried against the altar in the word of Yah and said, O altar, altar, thus saith Yah, behold, a child shall be born unto the house of David, Josiah by name. Y'all see what's going on here? And upon thee shall he offer the priest of the high places and burn incense upon it, and men's bones shall be burnt upon thee. And he gave a sign the same day, saying, this is the sign which Yah hath spoken. Behold, the altar shall be rent, and the ashes that are upon it shall be poured out. And it came to pass, when King Jeroboam heard the saying of the man of God, which he cried against the altar in Bethel, and that he had put forth his hand from the altar, saying, lay hold on him, and his hand which he had put forth against him dried up so that he could not pull it in again. Now, let me go to this other part. I want to show you something in 2 Samuel 20. Now, this is kind of like in David's time, right? But I thought that this language is super interesting. 2 Samuel 21. And there happened to be there a man of Belial, right? A worthless individual, right? A man of Belial, whose name was Sheba, the son of Barchi, a Benjamite. And he blew the trumpet and said, we have no part in David, neither have we an inheritance in the son of Jesse. Have we heard that before? Every man to his tents, O Israel. So every man of Israel went up from after David and followed Sheba, the son of Barchi, but the man of Judah clave unto their king. Isn't that interesting? Just like the children of Judah clave unto their king, they didn't go away with Jeroboam. Just like Judah clave unto their king, David here, they did not go after Sheba. And it's the same thing that's being said here that we just read earlier in 1 Kings chapter 12 and 2 Samuel 20, but it's dealing with two different situations. Isn't this so interesting? And look at what it says. So every man of Israel went up after David and followed Sheba, the son of Barchi, but the men of Judah clave unto their king from Jordan even to Jerusalem. And David came to his house at Jerusalem, and the king, the 10 women, his concubines, when he had left to keep the house, and put them in ward and fed them, but went not in unto them. So they were shut up unto the day of their death, living in widowhood. So I just wanted to read that portion. Now, I want to read something here about this guy, Jeroboam, because there's a specific phrase in the scripture called the sin of Jeroboam, right? In 2 Kings chapter 3, verse 3, it says, nevertheless, he clung to the sin of Jeroboam, the son of Nebat, which he made Israel to sin. He did not depart from it, right? So I'm going to read this. 2 Kings 3:3 includes a reference to King Joram or Jehoram of Israel and the, quote, sin of Jeroboam, end quote. Joram was the son of Ahab. And the only thing positive mentioned about him is that he got rid of a sacred stone of Baal that his father had made. 2 Kings 3:2, thus he was not as wicked as his parents, but that's not saying much. Joram's problem was that he clung to the sins of Jeroboam. This is how it reads in the ESV. He did that which was evil in the sight of Yah, though not like his father and mother, for he put away a pillar of Baal that his father had made. Jeroboam was the first king of divided Israel. In 1 Kings 14:9, it says, but you have done evil above all who were before you, and have gone and made for yourselves other gods and metal images, keep this in mind, provoking me to anger, and have cast me behind your back. So I'm not going to lie to y'all. In Hosea chapter 3, verse 4, it sounds like this king and all this other stuff that they're not going to have, and terraform and image and all that, Sounds like something that they might have been involved with in the northern kingdom, you see, because God's about to bring destruction upon the northern kingdom of Israel. Isn't that interesting? But they will seek the Lord their God and David their king. You see, the house of Judah. See, this doesn't have anything to do with what these people are trying to teach us continually or trying to convince us of. It's not panning out at all, not when we read these scriptures in context. This goes on to say the prophet Ahijah clearly states the sins of Jeroboam. Quote, "You have done more evil than all who lived before you. You have made for yourself other gods," just like we read in Hosea 3, "idols made of metal." That's kind of what teraphim are, by the way. "You have aroused God's anger and turned your back on God." Maybe that's why they have to return and seek the Lord their God and David. Jeroboam's sin was idolatry. He created and worshiped gods other than the Most High. This practice of worshiping other gods began early in Jeroboam's reign. When the kingdom was divided and he controlled the northern part, he stopped all pilgrimages to Jerusalem, as we read previously. Quote, "It is too much for you to go up to Jerusalem. Here are your gods, O Israel, which brought you out of the land of Egypt," end quote. One golden calf he set at Bethel and the other at Dan, and this thing became a sin. The people came to worship the one at Bethel and went as far as to Dan to worship the other. In addition to sacrificing to these two golden calves, Jeroboam, quote, "built shrines of high places and appointed priests from all sorts of people, even though they were not Levites." 1 Kings 12:31. God's entire system of holy days, sacrifices, and worship was changed into a man-made system focused on worshiping golden calves. In addition to this idolatry, the cities of Bethel and Dan became the places of worship rather than God's chosen city of Jerusalem. 2 Chronicles chapter 6, verse 6. "But I have chosen Jerusalem, that my name may be there, and I have chosen David to be over my people Israel." The sin of Jeroboam was doubly tragic in that he had been promised blessing from God if he had just followed the path of David. Quote, "If you do whatever I command you and walk in obedience to me and do what is right in my eyes by obeying my decrees and commands, as David my servant did, I will be with you. I will build you a dynasty as enduring as one that I built for David, and will give Israel to you." 1 Kings 11:38. In turning to calf worship, Jeroboam spurred God's goodness and brought about his own demise, quote, "the sin of the house of Jeroboam." This is what led to his downfall and its downfall and the destruction of them from the face of the earth. 1 Kings chapter 13:34. "And this thing became a sin to the house of Jeroboam, so as to cut it off and destroy it from the face of the earth." There are other places throughout 1st and 2nd Kings that refer to the sins or ways of Jeroboam. For example, in 1 Kings 15:34, he did that which was evil in the sight of Yah and walked in the way of Jeroboam and in the sin which he made Israel to sin. It states that King Baasha, quote, "did evil in the eyes of Yah, following the ways of Jeroboam and committing the same sin Jeroboam had called Israel to commit. For following Jeroboam's sin, Baasha suffered Jeroboam's fate." 1 Kings chapter 16, 1-4. "And the word of Yah came to Jehu," that's who we read about over there in Hosea chapter 1, the house of Jehu. So now we're starting to get a sense of the time period, aren't we? And everything leading up to this situation with prophet Hosea. 1 Kings 16, 1-4. "And the word of Yah came to Jehu, the son of Hanani, against Baasha, saying, Since I exalted you out of the dust and made you leader over my people Israel, and you have walked in the way of Jeroboam and have made my people Israel to sin, provoking me to anger with their idolatry, right? The sins of Jeroboam haunted the later kings of Israel, all of whom practiced idolatry. King Zimri, 1 Kings 16:19. Because of the sins that have committed, doing evil in the sight of Yah, walking in the way of Jeroboam, and for his sin which he committed, making Israel to sin. King Omri, 1 Kings 16:26. For he walked in the way of Jeroboam, the son of Nebat, and in the sins that he made Israel to sin, provoking Yah, the God of Israel, to anger by their idols. See, they just would not seek the Lord God and David their king. King Jehoahaz, 2 Kings 13, verse 2. He did that which was evil in the sight of Yah and followed the sins of Jeroboam, the son of Nebat, which he made Israel to sin. He did not depart from them. And King Pekahiah, right? 2 Kings 15:24. And he did what was evil in the sight of Yah. He did not turn away from the sins of Jeroboam, the son of Nebat, which he made Israel to sin. These and others all followed the wicked example of Jeroboam. Jeroboam's reign included many sins, yet the, quote, sin of Jeroboam, end quote, is a specific reference to idol worship that marked his reign and the reigns of the kings of Israel who followed him. This sin was one that angered Yah and ultimately led to the judgment upon Israel. Now let's take a look back at Hosea. Golly, boy, I'm telling you. The children of Israel shall abide many days without a king, without a prince, without a sacrifice, without an image, without an ephod, without teraphim. Afterward shall the children of Israel return and seek Yah their Elohim and David their king, and shall fear Yah and his goodness. You see, in the latter days. Now, I want to point something out here. I want you to take a look at Hosea 3:4. This is something that I thought was interesting in reference to a king. When we take a look in the context here in Hosea, look at this in Hosea chapter 7, and I'm going to read verses 1-3. When I would have healed Israel, then the iniquity of Ephraim was discovered, and the wickedness of Samaria. For they committed falsehood, and the thief cometh in, and the troop of robbers spoileth it without. And they considered not in their hearts that I remember all their wickedness. Now their own doings have beset them about. They are before my face. They make the king glad with their wickedness, and princes with their lies. This is Adam Clark. They make the king glad. They pleased Jeroboam by coming readily into his measures and heartily joining with him in his idolatry. And they profess to be perfectly happy in their change and to be greatly advantaged by their new gods and that false system of religious worship and stately power of authority. Thus, they made all their rulers glad with their lies. We read about some of these people, didn't we? Now, notice here that this isn't talking about the king of Judah when it speaks about Ephraim here. Ephraim was discovered in the wickedness of Samaria. Hosea 7:2. They considered not in their hearts that I remembered all their wickedness. Verse 3. They made the king glad with their wickedness, and the princes with their lies. Did everybody catch that? Hey, look at verse 5. In the day of our kings, the princes have made him sick with bottles of wine. He stretched out his hand with scorners. Maybe an allusion back to what we were reading about the man of God. stretching out his hand. Verse 6, for they have made ready their heart like an oven. While they lie in wait, their baker sleepeth all the night. In the morning it burneth as a flaming fire. They are all hot as an oven and have devoured their judges. All their kings are fallen. There is none among them that calleth unto me. Ephraim, he hath mixed himself amongst the people. Ephraim is a cake not turned. Strangers have devoured his strength, and he knoweth it not. Yea, gray hairs are here and there upon him, yet he knoweth not. And the pride of Israel testifieth to his face, and they do not return to Yah their God, nor seek him for all this. Ephraim is also like a silly dove without heart. They call to Egypt, they go to Assyria. When they shall go, I will spread my net upon them. I will bring them down as the fowls of heaven. I will chastise them as the congregation hath heard. Woe unto them, for they have fled from me. Destruction unto them, because they have transgressed against me. Though I have redeemed them, yet they have spoken lies against me. And they have not cried unto me with their heart. When they howled upon their beds, they assemble themselves for corn and wine. Remember that over there, they love them flagons of wine, and they rebel against me. Though I have bound and strengthened their arms, yet do they imagine mischief against me. They return, but not to the Most High. They are like a deceitful bow. Their princes shall fall with the sword for the rage of their tongue. This shall be their derision in the land of Egypt. Look at what this says here. Let's go here. Hosea chapter 10, verse 1. Israel is an empty vine. He bringeth forth fruit unto himself. According to the multitude of his fruit, he hath increased the altars. What altars? Remember, of idols. This ain't Judah. According to the goodness of his land, they have made goodly images. Maybe like teraphim. Okay. Hosea 10:2. Their heart is divided. Now shall they be found faulty. He shall break down their altars. He shall spoil their images. Now, in verse 3 it says, for now they shall say, we have no king, because we feared not Yah. What then should a king do to us? What are they referring to, everybody? You see what's happening here? This language can be very confusing if you're not really in depth in the context. They've treacherously departed from Yah and David, the house of David. When you continue to read, it says in Hosea 10:4, they have spoken words swearing falsely and making a covenant. What is the word that they swear falsely and making a covenant? We're just reading about all this. Thus judgment springeth up as a hemlock in the furrows of the field. The inhabitants of Samaria shall fear because of the calves of Beth-Aven. Remember, I told you we were going to get to that. For the people thereof shall mourn over it, and the priests thereof that rejoiced on it for the glory thereof, because it is departed from it. Isn't that interesting? That these priests, these kings and all this, these images and these goodly things, this don't have nothing to do with Judah, everybody. Isn't that interesting? Hosea 10:6, it shall also be carried into Assyria for a present to the king Jareb. Ephraim shall receive shame, and Israel shall be ashamed of his own counsel. As for Samaria, her king is cut off as the foam upon the water. The high places also of Aven, which is, I guess, a shortened term for Beth-Aven, the sin of Israel shall be destroyed. The thorn and the thistle shall come up on their altars. And they shall say to the mountains, cover us, and to the hills, fall on us. O Israel, thou hast sinned from the days of Gibeah. There they stood, the battle of Gibeah against the children of iniquity did not overtake them. It is my desire that I should chastise them, and that the people should be gathered against them when they shall bind themselves in their two furrows. And Ephraim is as an heifer that is taught and loveth to tread out the corn. But I passed over her fair neck. I will make Ephraim to ride. Judah shall plow, and Jacob shall break in the clods. You see this? Judah don't have nothing to do with what Ephraim's got going down. Man, let me show you something here. Let me take you to another place, right? Bethel in Hosea chapter 10, verse 15. So shall Bethel, we've been reading about Bethel and Dan, Bethaven, the interchange name Gilgal, do unto you because of your great wickedness. In a morning shall the king of Israel utterly be cut off. What king is that, everybody? That they won't have? Oh, it's a king of the northern kingdom. I see. Hosea 10:15. The king of Israel shall be utterly cut off. When? Oh, when that Assyrian comes in to bust their head wide open. Hosea chapter 13, verse. Let me see where I need to start here. Yeah. Hosea chapter 13, verse 7. Therefore will I be unto them as a lion, as a leopard by the way will I observe them. I will meet them as a bear that is bereaved of her whelps, and rend the call of their heart. And there I will devour them like a lion, and a wild beast shall tear them. O Israel, thou hast destroyed thyself, but in me is thine help. I will be thy king. Where is any other that may save thee in all your cities, and thy judges, of whom thou saidest, give me a king and princes, that we were reading about in Hosea 7. Hosea 13:11, I gave you a king in my anger, and took him away in my wrath. The iniquity of Ephraim is bound up, his sin is hid. You see it? How do you take him away in his wrath? Because that's that wicked freaking house of Jeroboam, man, that's going down. But yeah, man, I wanted to share that. I could go even deeper into it. I don't know if you're still here, Abiel, man. Did you like that breakdown, brother? I figured that was kind of thorough there about that Hosea 3, 4, and 5. There's really a lot more, but
It was, brother. Hold up. I'm gonna bring something out in a moment. Give me a moment.
oh, you're all good, brother. Here, Yafa will give us a little something. Yeah, you just let me know, man. You just let me know when you're back. Any of y'all wanted to come up and add to as well? Everybody is welcome. Everybody is welcome.
Hey, so I'm back. Hold up. I'm at work, so.
Oh, it's all
But
good, brother. All praises.
when it comes to the delineation between and Hosea, you went over a lot of it, but it's interesting because in the book of Amos, Amos is a contemporary or successive prophet to Hosea. So he's prophesying either after or during the days of Jeroboam, the son of Joash, king of Israel. And in Amos chapter 1, verse 1, it says, the words of Amos, who was among the herdsmen of Tekoa, which he saw concerning Israel in the days of Uzziah, king of Judah, and the days of Jeroboam, the son of Joash, king of Israel, 2 years before the earthquake. So Jeroboam, the son of Joash, king of Israel, as you already brought out in Second Kings. When you go to Second Kings chapter 14 through to chapter 15, before they're overtaken by Assyria and they go into that captivity there, just to just to show that it's talking about the same individuals. So in Second Kings chapter 14, verse 23, as you already brought out, in the 15th year of Amaziah, um, the Amaziah the son of Joash, king of Judah, Jeroboam the son of Joash, king of Israel, began to reign in Samaria, and reigned 41 years. And he did that which was evil in the sight of Yah. He departed not from all the sins of Jeroboam the son of Nebat, who made Israel to sin. So that's who Amos is dealing with. So in chapter 2, in chapter 1, he gives the judgments to Damascus, Gaza, Tyre, Edom, Ammon. And then in chapter 2, you get Moab. But in verse 4 through 16, just to, add to the whole concept of the delineation that's taking place in Hosea chapter 3, verse 4 and 5, and just in the first three chapters in general. And as you have already brought out in the history that we see in First Kings chapter 12 through 14 with Rehoboam and Jeroboam, and how Jeroboam sets up, the false priesthood and all the gods for them to worship in the high places and all that good stuff. Well, bad stuff, but you know what I mean. Um, in the book of Amos, Amos is also prophesying judgments against Judah and Israel. So the southern two tribe kingdom and the northern 10 tribe kingdom. So in verse 4 and 5, he says, "Thus saith Yah, for three transgressions of Judah and for four, I will not turn away the punishment thereof, because they have despised the law of Yah, and have not kept his commandments, and their lies caused them to err after thee which their fathers have walked. But I will send a fire upon Judah, and it shall devour the palaces of Jerusalem." So that's the judgment to Judah. But then when we get to verse 6 through 16, now Amos turns and he focuses on Israel, which is the 10 tribe kingdom. So to your point, in Hosea chapter 3, it's not talking about all 12 tribes, but specifically the northern kingdom, because even Amos, who is a contemporaneous or at least the successive prophet, he also is prophesying a delineation to the individual kingdoms. And he says in verse 6, "Thus saith Yah, for three transgressions of Israel, and four, I will not turn away the punishment thereof, because they sold the righteous for silver and the poor for a pair of shoes, that pant after the dust of the earth on the head of the poor, and turn aside the way of the meek. And a man and his father will go in unto the same maid to profane my holy name. And they lay themselves down upon clothes laid to pledge by every altar, and they drink the wine of the condemned in the house of their God. Yet destroyed I the Amorite before them, whose height was like the height of the cedars, and he was strong as the oaks, and yet I destroyed his fruit from above," so on and so forth. And then he continues to speak in this way pretty much all throughout the book of Amos, with reference to the northern kingdom. So we have two witnesses. We have the witness of Hosea and we have the witness of Amos, who are contemporaneous prophets who are prophesying against the northern kingdom before um, before they go into captivity, before the judgment and the punishment of the Most High comes upon them. So I just wanted to add that to your build. If individuals want to look at the book of Amos and look at how Amos delineates between Judah, the two tribe kingdom, and between Israel, the 10 tribe kingdom, it builds to your point in Hosea chapter 3, in particular, as you were breaking it down, that when it talks about that the children of Israel shall abide many days without a king, without a prince, and without sacrifice, and without an image, and without an ephod, and without a teraphim, so on and so forth. This shows that during this time period, they're focused on the northern kingdom apart from Judah. So this would not be talking about, as certain rabbinic Jews that we won't know. I'm not going to say rabbinic Jews, certain anti-missionaries on this app, and even certain Tanakh or Torah onlys on this app like to abuse this verse and say, "Oh, well, the reason why we don't have these things is because and only because we, as a whole, all the scattered of Israel," and then they apply this verse to themselves. But as you already broke down pretty plainly in the context and even in the history of Israel, according to what we see in Chronicles and Kings, it's pretty plain. But that was a great breakdown, brother. You did a great job.
Oh yeah, yeah, they're busted. Will they not cease to speak lies against the Most High? I mean, what's happening here? I mean, this is just pure laziness of people who are not reading. That's a real problem when people don't read. I mean, look at Hosea 5:1. Hear you this, O priest, and hearken, you house of Israel, and give ye ear, O house of the king. For judgment is toward you, because you have been a snare on Mizpah, and a net spread upon Tabor. And the revolters are proud to make slaughter, though I have been a rebuker of them all. I know Ephraim and Israel is not hid from me. Now, O Ephraim, thou committest whoredom, Israel defiled. You see what's going on? It's all this worship of idols that the northern kingdom of Israel is committing. In verse 4, he says, they will not frame their doings to turn unto their God, for the spirit of whoredoms is in the midst of them, and they have not known Yah. And the pride of Israel do testify to his face. Therefore shall Israel and Ephraim fall in their iniquity. You know, when you take a look at Hosea also, chapter 6, if you take a look at this, um, God says in verse 6, for I have desired mercy and not sacrifice and the knowledge of God more than burnt offerings. But they like men, right? Like Adam, Adam, have transgressed the covenant. There they have dealt treacherously against me. Gilead is a city of them that work iniquity and is polluted with blood. Right. Now, let me pull this real quick. Let me see if I can find this. And I was looking at it earlier. Yeah. 1 Kings 2:5. Moreover, thou knowest also what Joab the son of Zeruiah did to me, and what he did to the two captains in the host of Israel, and Abner the son of Ner, and Amasa the son of Jether, whom he slew and shed the blood of war in peace, and the blood of the war upon his girdle and the loins of his shoes that were upon his feet. In verse 9, it says, Hosea 6, and as troops of robbers wait for a man, so the company of priests murder in the way by consent, for they commit lewdness. I've seen a horrible thing in the house of Israel. See, that the house of Israel, house of Jehu, uh, Jeroboam, the king of Israel, the children of Israel, this all has to do with those who had no longer any part in the house of David, of Judah. So he says, the house of Israel, there is a whoredom of Ephraim, Israel is defiled. Right. When you take a look at Hosea chapter 8, right? Verse 1, set a trumpet to thy mouth. He shall come as an eagle against the house of Yah, because they have transgressed my covenant, trespassed my law. Israel shall cry unto me, my God, we know thee. Israel hath cast off the thing which is good. The enemy shall pursue him. They have set up kings, but not by me. You see that? They have set up kings, but not by me. They have made princes, and I knew it not. Of their silver and their gold have they made them idols, that they may be cut off. The calf of Samaria have cast thee off. Mine anger is kindled against them. How long will be ere that you attain the innocency? For from Israel was it also, the workman made it. Therefore it is not God, but the calf of Samaria shall be broken in pieces. Verse 8, Israel is swallowed up. Now shall they be among the Gentiles as a vessel wherein is no pleasure. Why? For they are gone to Assyria, a wild ass alone by himself. Ephraim hath hired lovers. Yea, though they have hired amongst the nations, now will I gather them, and they shall swallow a little for the burden of the king of princes. Because Ephraim hath made many altars to sin, altars shall be unto them to sin. I have written to him the great things of my law, but they were counted as a strange thing. You see, it's what Hosea 4 is about. Hosea, they're destroyed for lack of knowledge and all that. He's talking about Israel, you see, the house of Israel. Man, this whole thing when you go through here. But yeah, I wanted to bring that out. Peace for those up there. Go ahead, brother.
Yeah, I wanted to say I agree. Definitely agree with you. I don't know what or that HOSEA, the king prophet, is talking. Going to talk to Judah. Even Eliyahu, we could see in First Kings chapter 19 to 10. See the thing about the king you were talking about. I always get a mix up. Jeroboam. Which one is it? Oh, Jeroboam, right? The thing
Right,
about
yeah,
him.
Jeroboam.
He was promised something like how you read, if he did right, he was going to be promised the same thing King David had. He turned the side from God's way and did the opposite of it. Those altars that he had, it wasn't that those altars were legal or not, because that thing was supposed to happen. The nation was literally supposed to split. This is something that was gave into he had the Shiloh niece to tell to Solomon. This will happen. The kingdom will be ripped away from him. Um, the northern kingdom gonna go that way, and the southern kingdom gonna go that way. It wasn't that the altars were bad necessarily, but what he did with the altars was bad. He set them up for idol worship. So this is why when I'm about to read in First Kings chapter 19, I think it's verse 10. Hold on. Yeah, verse 10. So Eliyahu, he's making conquest somewhere. All right. So God asked him, I'm gonna read it.
Hey, you're breaking up just a little bit, brother.
Okay, hold on. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, you're good.
Is this better? Okay, this is verse 9. And he came there into a cave and lounged there, and behold, the word of the Lord came to him. And he said, what are you doing here, Elijah? And he said, I am very zealous for the Lord, the God of hosts. For the children of Israel have forsaken thy covenant. That's the key part. And thrown down thy altars. This is plural, right? Because as far as we know, there's only supposed to be one altar, and that's in Jerusalem, right? He's going to the northern kingdom, right? So he's not going to be, referring to the altar in the southern kingdom, which is in Jerusalem. He's going to be referring to those altars that are in the northern kingdom, which are in Dan and get the other place, Dan and other place, whatever. So
Bethel.
Bethel, right? So he's checking them about they're disrespecting your altars, God, by doing bad worship on them. So they were okay, but what they did with them, that was a complete violation. You know what I mean? So even here, he's going to the northern kingdom, and it just keeps going with the same thing. So I don't know why they would say this is about like the whole entire nation. That's completely false.
Yeah, it's completely false and it skews what's actually being said and what's going on here. I mean, when you do that, you're throwing off the entire paradigm. I mean, matter of fact, you're changing the entire prophecy from Hosea 1 and 2 and what's being declared, right? Specifically, that in Hosea 1, I mean, it opens up and it tells you the word of Yah that came unto Hosea the son of Beri in the days of Uzziah, Jotham, Ahaz, and Hezekiah, kings of Judah, and in the days of Jeroboam the son of Joash, king of Israel. So they're making a distinction. The prophet is, Yah speaking to the prophet is making a distinction this entire time. You're not supposed to get confused with this. See, he had promised David that he would not cease to have a lamp, right, or a son, that his people would not be as those who have no one to guide them. So that's why we see that there are righteous kings that pop up within Judah, right? Hezekiah is one of them that it mentions here in Hosea 1 and 1. And, I'm going to read about this lamp because this goes into the prophecy as well. I'm going to have to find this real quick too, because see, when they do this, what's happening is they're missing on what the Davidic promise is at the same time in Hosea 3, which really doesn't have anything to do with what they're trying to tell us. The promise is mentioned in numerous places. In Jeremiah, Yah keeps on talking about his mercy towards David. Matter of fact, Solomon, when you look at 2 Samuel chapter 7, he will be my son, I shall be his father. And then talking about if he commits iniquity, he will not take his mercy from him, etc. And he shall build for him a house and all this. Yah had already said he wasn't going to take his mercy from Judah. There's no way that in Hosea 1, when it's talking about the children of Israel and the fact that they will no longer have mercy, that has anything to do with the house of Judah. Because Yah would be going back on his promise that he had already told David. So that's a big mistake right there. And it's showing a lack of really just understanding of the Tanakh itself when it comes to these specific things, right? Mainly this whole thing that's popping off with the history that we see from that time forward. So I'm going to read a couple verses here. Matter of fact, if you look in 2 Samuel chapter 21, verse 17, it says, "And Abishai the son of Zeruiah secured him and smote the Philistine and killed him, that the men of David swear unto him, saying, Thou shalt go no more out with us to battle, that thou quench not the light of Israel. And it came to pass after this that there was again battle with the Philistines at Gob, and Shebechai the Hazarite slew Saph, and was of the sons of the giant." So now they don't want David to die because they don't want the light of Israel to be quenched. And the light of Israel, or the lamp of Israel, is speaking about the Davidic king or the ruler. So when you look in 1 Kings chapter 11, verse 36, check out what this says. It says, I'm going to start at verse 34 because this gets into the split. "Howbeit, I will not take the whole kingdom out of his hand, but I will make him prince all the days of his life for David my servant's sake, whom I chose because he kept my commandments and my statutes. And I will take the kingdom out of his son's hand and will give it unto thee, even 10 tribes," right? This is the whole thing with Jeroboam, like you were just talking about. And he gave Jeroboam promises, but Jeroboam was wicked. He didn't continue in the way that Yah had said that his dynasty would persist. 1 Kings 11:36. "And unto his son will I give one tribe, that David my servant may have a light always before me in Jerusalem, the city which I have chosen me to put my name there." So see, this light, is this lamp that he's talking about, is a sun. In verse 37, it says, "I will take thee, and thou shalt reign according to all that thy soul desireth, and shalt be king over Israel. And it shall be, if thou wilt hearken unto all that I command thee, and will walk in my ways and do what is right in my sight, to keep my statutes and judge, and commandments, as David my servant did, that I will be with thee, and build thee a sure house as I built for David, and will give Israel unto you. And I will for this afflict the seed of David, but not forever." Solomon sought therefore to kill Jeroboam. And Jeroboam arose and fled into Egypt, unto Shishgath, king of Egypt, and was in Egypt until the death of Solomon. And the rest of the acts of Solomon, and all that he did, and his wisdom, are they not written in the book of the acts of Solomon? Right? So then, if you take a look at 2 Chronicles 21:7, which is pretty much the same thing. But it says in 2 Chronicles 21:7, "Howbeit Yah would not destroy the house of David, because of the covenant that he made with David, and as he promised to give a light to him and to his sons forever." You see here, forever. Man, look, this is why I be telling these people, y'all interpreting that way, y'all's breaking his promises. See, they're not understanding what's going on. Even like Kanaya, when he said he'll pluck him off as a signet, he said that he would chastise them. I mean, even who is it? Zedekiah, who had his eyes put out. But you see, Zerubbabel was who Yah made the signet coming back out. This is part of all of his mercies towards David. This is what this is all about. This is why when the northern kingdom went into Assyria, they're pretty much burnt. They got to cleave onto the house of Judah. They don't cleave onto the house of Judah, they don't have no mercy. They don't cleave onto the house of Judah, they have no light, because God's going to continue running forward with this thing with the house of David. They're pretty much through because of what happened. So even when they come back out of Babylon, after they're sojourned there, they're going to have to cleave unto Judah in the region. That's the whole point. They're coming back to Jerusalem. They're going to rebuild the temple. Joshua, the high priest, and Zechariah, for example, and Zerubbabel and all these other guys, this is all dealing with Judah now. This is about Judah. And the other tribes, or the remnants of the tribes, they have to remain faithful unto the house of Judah. That's the whole point. Why? Because as you see, his mercy, he said, will not depart from David. So when you take a look at 2 Kings 8, right? In 2 Kings chapter 8 and verse 9, it says, so Hazael went to meet him and took a present with him, even every good thing of Damascus, 40 camels, a burden, and came and stood before him and said, thy son Ben-Hadad, the king of Syria, hath sent me to thee, saying, shall I recover of this disease? And Elisha, no, this ain't, I want verse 19. That's what I want, 19. Yeah. Yet Yah would not destroy Judah. You see there? Yet Yah would not destroy Judah. Well, look at verse 18. He walked, matter of fact, let me get the context here, 16. In the 5th year, and this is during like Elisha, some people say Elisha, the protege of Eliyahu, Elijah. 2 Kings 8:16, and in the 5th year of Joram, the son of Ahab, king of Israel, Jehoshaphat being king of Judah, Jehoram, the son of Jehoshaphat, king of Judah, began to reign. 32 years old was he when he began to reign. He reigned 8 years in Jerusalem, and he walked in the way of the kings of Israel, as did the house of Ahab. For the daughter of Ahab was his wife, and he did evil in the sight of Yah. Yet Yah would not destroy Judah, you see, for David his servant's sake, as he promised to give him always a light, right? You see, and to his children. So this is the whole point, man. Like Yah can't go, he's not going to go back on these sure mercies of David, is what it's called in another place, Isaiah chapter 55, right? The sure mercies of David, that there would be a commander. And let me get that real quick, because see, Isaiah's coming like 700s, you know what I'm saying, BC and all this. And so in Isaiah 55, it says in verse 3, incline your ear and come unto me here, and your soul shall live, and I will make an everlasting covenant with you, even the sure mercies of David. Behold, I have given him for a witness to the people, a leader and a commander to the people. So see, he's the captain. When you look back in like 1 Samuel 10:1, when I think maybe it's Saul there, but he got anointed. He said he made him captain over his inheritance. And the David is the one who became captain over Yah's inheritance. So the Mashiach, the anointed king, basically, who is captain over Yah's inheritance, is a light and a lamp unto the people, that they be not as sheep who have no shepherd. And God had promised that they would not be this. They would not have that. So this all goes back to the Torah of Moshe. And then when you see what's popping off here, with this promise that he's telling David, and this covenant that he's making with David, that the children of Israel, when they depart from the house of David that we were reading earlier, and I'm going to yield right here, that they said, we have no inheritance in David. See to your tents, O Israel. So what's happened now? Well, what's happened now is after they split and then they go into idolatry, They're no longer seeking Yah, their God, or David, their king. That's why he said it would have to, in the latter days, this is when they will seek unto it. So that don't have nothing to do. That don't have nothing to do with Judah, man. And this is why I was talking to this guy earlier. His name was Yehuda something. He's one of these so-called Jewish guys. He was trying to say that there, when you read that that they are looking for this. And I said, well, you got a problem then, man. I said, because if that's the case, then that means you're not seeking the Lord thy God. Like, you haven't returned. You don't know him. But then he tried to tap dance and talk about he was some type of remnant and stuff. So see, they're like stumbling all over their feet when they're getting into these specific contexts because they're really not understanding exactly what's being said. They act really ignorant of the history, and which is really strange. I mean, because these people, man, they're in yeshivas. They're sitting here reading this Tanakh, but see, they don't spend time actually reading this Tanakh. They're dealing with too many of these rabbis. I'm speaking about these specific guys, rabbis and these so-called sages, and this guy Yehuda ben Nasi from the 2nd century, and Rambam, and all this other stuff, and the Zohar. All they're reading, and the Talmud and the Mishnah Torah. They're spending so much time in this, they don't even know what the heck the Tanakh is actually talking about. But yeah, I yield right there. Yeah, all praises.
I gotta go, but a great breakdown, brother.
Oh yeah.
And peace to everybody in the
Hey,
room.
peace, man. Yeah, we killed this one, man. Yeah, this topic's pretty much burnt. You want to add something?
Yeah,
That's sorry, ain't it?
yeah. I just wanted to say, yeah, good, definitely good breakdown on proving that that was the Northern Kingdom being addressed there. I don't know how they did that. I, would, I agree with you. Definitely Northern Kingdom part of
Hey, all praises, man. Hey, y'all be blessed, man. We're rolling out.